Good tea. All right. Good evening, everyone. So, this is going to be a chapter review of Vinland Saga, chapter 218. So, spoilers if you are not caught up with the manga, and heavy spoilers, I need to reiterate, heavy spoilers if you have only seen the anime. If you have watched the entire anime up until the end of season 2, this chapter takes place significantly further down the line. Many things have happened since the end of season 2, and I hope we get a season 3. I don't think season 3 has been announced yet, but I hope it is soon. So, I'll say it one more time, because I know I don't normally talk about Vinland Saga, and we're nearing the end of the manga now, so I will say it one more. Spoilers. We good? Are we good? No, we're not good. That escalated quickly. I didn't expect that. You know, kudos to you, Makoto Yukimura, because that was heart-wrenching. That was brutal. You know what I was expecting? This is what I was expecting. Einar comes down, talks to Thorfinn. The first half of this chapter, I kind of saw that coming. He's like, I've killed a man, Thorfinn, with my own 2 hands. And then Thorfinn would say it was like words of wisdom to Einar, which he kind of does. Although, to be honest with you, Thorfinn is such a down-to-earth dude. He really is. And we'll get into that in a moment here. So I was up to that point where like they were going to exchange words with one another. And it was eventually, ultimately, going to end with them acknowledging the fact that this just isn't going to work with the Lanu, and they're going to have to abandon the settlement, and they're going to have to leave, and they're going to retreat back to Greenland, back to Iceland, and it's just going to have to be very much like how it happened historically, you know, where it's just like the settlement just isn't going to work. And there's going to be a moment of maybe like where you see the cenotaph that they knock down to start the fire on, but Thorfinn, you know, hoists it back up, you know, with the help of his friends. He gets it back up there. So I don't know, maybe a moment where it's like that alone would have been like, if you think that's not that big of a deal, like, oh, they just left the settlement. I mean, hey, a shitload of people still died, like on both sides here, right? And this is the whole idea. I mean, the manga is called Vinland Saga. The whole idea is let's find a place somewhere that's not here, that's off on the other part of the world, that's free from war, and we can live in peace. And then they almost had that, and then it fell apart in their hands. So absolutely, that would have been a powerful enough way to end this arc of like, I could just see it now. And we're still probably going to see a scene like this where Thorfinn is sailing away and he just looks out and sees it like as the sun sets, and it just like, oh man, it was there, and I don't even know if it's possible now. And then maybe someday it can be, but it probably won't be during my time. And then we just see the cenotaph of peace. And then maybe we get an epilogue into the future or something. You know, that I think that's a lot of people what they're expecting. I was anticipating that. I don't know if Makoto Yukimura is going to do this. Maybe he might find it a little bit too vain to put himself in his manga. But I always thought an interesting way to end the series would be like you have an epilogue to the modern day where somebody is like examining the cenotaph that, you know, Thorfinn and Einar built. And it's like maybe not a modern archaeologist or anthropologist. Maybe it's just a tourist to like Lanso Meadows or something. But if Makoto Yukimura drew himself in the manga, because he did a bunch of research in order to lead up to Vinland Saga, so like it would, I would like that. I would like that. But anyway, so getting into the chapter itself, right? So Einar and I guess his name is like Stjörk. But I always go with the original translation of Stork because I just find that more of like an interesting name. Also, I think in Japanese it's like Stjorku, Storku. So I'm just going with Stork. Okay, Stork and Einar climb down the wall. And this is an extraordinarily powerful moment where the very moment Einar and Thorfinn, I like to think even when Einar was still up on the wall and they were at a distance, like the moment you see Einar emerge from the fort in the last chapter and Thorfinn gets a look at his friend after all of these days and weeks, right? It's been a long time of this siege, of this battle going on. You just see the man. He's tired for sure, but he's like hollow. There's like something else that's gone down, and Thorfinn knows exactly what it is. And now that Einar is walking up and standing right in front of Thorfinn, Thorfinn can tell immediately, and he's just so somber and just like, oh, Einar, you killed a guy, didn't you? Like, he can just tell immediately, and then cut to the image of the member of the Lanu tribe that Einar killed, that he stabbed multiple times. Like, you see all of the stab wounds in this guy's coat, just covered in blood, hanging over Einar like a ghoul, like a zombie, just like the army of zombies that is plaguing Thorfinn throughout this entire story, right? The one that gives him just like frequent night terrors, right? There's just this guy clinging to him like a ghost. And Einar's reaction to it, because you can imagine if he sees this thing, he's going to be asking other people, like, you see it too, right? And then everyone's going to be like, Stork even is like, what are you guys talking about? It's like, huh? I don't see anything. It goes to show that the people that murder, that don't want to murder, the people that truly understand the weight of taking a human life, they are the ones that are haunted by those lives that they took. Meanwhile, someone like Stork or, Ivar, back when he was still alive, they've killed so many people, and it's just like, and they're in that mindset, they don't feel that. They don't feel the regret or the remorse. Same thing with Thorfinn at the beginning of this story. He wasn't haunted by the ghosts of those he killed, not until he started to really think on it a little bit, is when he really started to be haunted by them, and he started to make that transition, right? So Einar just has this moment where he doesn't break expression. He's tired. Dude has not slept in a long time, but also he's just, racked with guilt over this. And he just like looks at Thorfinn and is like, oh, you can see it too? Oh, good. Like, there might be a little sense of like, oh, good, I'm not crazy, but also like, oh, that's still not good. Like, if you can see the specter of the person I killed, then that means like I'm in the same boat as you are. I can't even imagine. Like, this is how I feel just from taking a single life. You've killed like hundreds of people, Thorfinn. And he says, like, of course, I guess it would be visible to someone like you. This line right here, like, Einar and Thorfinn are bros, right? Like, they are best friends, and during the farming arc, like during season 2, when Einar first, understands like these nightly terrors that Thorfinn deals with, and he has to deal with this throughout his life, right? Like, he still has them, right? Like, it's not something he's like, I have overcome all of the horrible things I've done. It's like, no, he still has them. It's still a thing that psychologically plagues him, right? And so Einar at first was shocked by this, and then eventually understood that, like, why Thorfinn is going through this, why he's having these night terrors, and he tries to help his friend as much as possible. But no matter how much understanding he throws toward Thorfinn, he could never really understand what that was like to really experience it until now. Until now. He has now brutally stabbed a man to death, and now he understands what it is. And he looks at Thorfinn and just says, Thorfinn, you are truly amazing to have been bearing not only the death of one person, but the death of hundreds, and for so long. How are you not insane? How did you not just shatter apart from this? Because this is just one, and I'm feeling that weight. It's too much for me. It seems impossible. I'll have to live on with this burden. And then Einar just breaks down weeping. I killed a man, like right in front of Thorfinn, right? Stork isn't very helpful. He just looks over and he's just like, hey, dude, he would have killed you. That guy wasn't innocent. He was trying to kill you. So, like, if you didn't kill him, he would have killed us. I don't understand what you're weeping about. What are you being so upset for? You have to get a handle on it. You did it to protect us. You did it to protect, you know, the other members of Arnheid's village. You did that for a reason, okay? So just don't worry about it. And this is why Stork doesn't have a ghost. It's just like when you start to realize the weight of a human life and what that means under any context, taking that, then you start to understand, right? He says to him, Stork says to Einar, did you have any other choice but to fight? Now, to Stork, of course, it's like, nah. It's like, it's them or us, you know? And then it starts getting into the whole discussion with choices. We always say we don't have a choice. We always say we have to fight, right? We flash back to the meeting with the shaman, and we talk about how, oh, well, Thorfinn right then and there was like, okay, I get it. I understand. There's a disease. It's wiping everybody out. Okay. Didn't expect that. It's like 1000 AD, and Thorfinn is not a fucking doctor. So he doesn't know how this works. It's a while until germ theory happens. So Thorfinn's like, okay, didn't think this was going to happen. Sorry. We'll leave. Just let us leave. Let us get out of here. But Einar is like, but I was the one that was like, I decided to fight. I mean, I didn't have a choice. It's the village we built. It's Arnheid's village. We built it. We're trying to make a better life in Vinland. What's wrong with that? They were trying to kick us out. That's not right, right? Like, we had to fight back, right? Right? Like, we had no choice, right? And he's just trying as best as he can to justify this with himself. And he's pleading with Thorfinn. Thorfinn, please, say I was right. Say I made the right choice, please, for the love of God. And you know, the entire time he's been in the fort for the last several days, not getting that much sleep, agonizing over this. Like, if there's one person on this planet that understands this better than I do, it's Thorfinn. So if I maybe, just maybe, last saving grace for Einar, if Thorfinn is hopefully still alive and he gets back to this fort, I could talk to him. Maybe he can give me some advice. Maybe he could tell me I didn't have a choice but to protect everybody. And then maybe this ghost specter thing will like, oh, leave me be, spirit, please. Maybe I would finally be able to move on past it. And you know what? And you know what Thorfinn says? This is what I mean, you know, like Thorfinn doesn't try to give him some bullshit to make him feel better. He doesn't even try to give his own philosophy away to him, you know. Here's what Thorfinn says to him. He says two things mainly. Even if I were to tell you that you were right, it wouldn't change anything. That ghost would not vanish. And he just says, I too bear that weight, brother. That's all I can do for you. So that's all he can give him. A little bit of like camaraderie, like brotherhood kind of thing of just like, hey, look, man, I don't know. I don't know how to make them go away. You know, I've tried to atone. I've tried all this stuff, and they're still here. They're still here. Gonna be with me the rest of my life, and I can't tell you anything. Like, anything I could tell you is not going to make them go away. And all I can do for you is just be here for you. Yeah, you ever want to talk kind of thing, I'm always here, and we can work through this. But, like, I can't give you what you need, man. What you think you can, like, oh, like an easy, quick remedy for this. It's not going to happen, right? And Einar brings up, you were always saying about a war of no choice, between it's wrong and no choice, and how do you choose between the two? And Einar finally tells him, you know, you're amazing, you're a true warrior, because look, they dealt with some, they dealt with a lot of brutality back on not Kethric, that's from Baldur's Gate 3. Kettle's farm. They dealt with a lot of brutality back at Kettle's farm, right? But nothing as personal and as really in the dirt as Einar has had to deal here with a siege and with like keep in mind, most of these people are not warriors. Most of these people are farmers, like Ivar even and Stork. They're brothers, like actual brothers, correct? I didn't know about that, but they are brothers, and they were farmers originally working under Halfdan. But Ivar is seemingly he's been to battle before. I mean, he has a really nice sword and all that kind of jazz, right? So like they've seen war, they've seen battle before, most likely. Einar's never, and then with obviously the whole thing in the Baltic, but like this is something else, man. This is just a bunch of people together behind a wall, and the Lanu are attacking, and he killed somebody, right? And that's more close to this than he's ever been. So he looks at him and he's like, okay, Thorfinn, well, let's just do it. Let's just end this already. Let's just declare a truce with the Lanu and then just figure it out and just leave. Let's just get out of here, right? Let's just get the hell out of here. So some of the people on the wall are like, oh, wait a minute. So we're doing a ceasefire? Are we evacuating? And dude, these people are so tired. Like, how many people do you like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6? Like, there cannot be that many people left. We saw a lot of dead bodies in the last chapter when Stork was like, hey, man, yeah, we don't have that many dead. We could still fight for a while. And you just see the pile of corpses, just the line of corpses behind the wall. So, like, yeah, they're probably down to, like, less than a dozen. And Thorfinn mentioned last time, like, oh, they all look exhausted. Like, they don't have enough time to shift out for the wall and everything. So there's one dude that's just like, I don't even care. I don't care what we do anymore. I don't care if we go back to Greenland. I don't care if we stay here. I mean, I just need to get some sleep. So there's like some dude just slumps down against the fort wall, and he's like, I'm getting as sleep as I can. I don't care what we do, just as long as they're not going to throw arrows at us for the next couple of hours. So Thorfinn thanks Einar and then turns to Stork, who's like the only other person here who's kind of in charge here. By the way, I will give props to Stork in handling like the tactical, like, dude, this guy really could be a good commander of an army unit. Like, if he was in a straight up battle, like a commander of certain men, and he has like if he had, I will say this, I mean, like, if, the people of Vinland were armed better and there was a few more men that were, like, fighting ready and stuff like that, Stork would have been the tactical commander to organize them, and they probably would have won if he had, like, a few dozen more men and the better weapons and some shields and some swords and spears. They probably would have done way better under Stork, because he seems like that type of guy. And I actually really like that twist where, at first he just seemed like, oh, there's, like, Ivar, and then he's, like, the hot-headed guy with the sword, and then there are his two, like, backup dancers, his two lackeys, as it were. Turns out one of those lackeys actually extraordinarily intelligent, and even Hild caught on to that. Like, that chapter where Hild realized, like, oh, this guy's actually really smart. Oh, this guy is, yeah, you're not going to be able to trick this dude. This guy actually knows what's up. You know what I mean? And so, yeah. So he would have probably been able to actually do something here, but, like, it's just the numbers is just too little. So, I didn't even, this guy does have a name. I'm probably going to horribly butcher the pronunciation, but it's the member of the Lanu that has, like, the black feathered cloak, who's the main villain of the arc, essentially, on the Lanu's side. He is the dude, he is that version of, like, Garm, who just is here to fight, and he wants the sword so he could be the greatest warrior ever, and that's his entire character. We don't know anything more about his backstory, right? But then again, I mean, Garm's entire backstory was just he really, really, really liked to fight, and then he fought a bunch of kids and then beat them up really bad, and then their big brothers came, and then he killed one of them, and then the adults showed up, and he was so happy he started killing the adults. Yeah, that was Garm's entire backstory pretty much, and how lonely he was there because he was basically just like a wild animal just attacking everybody. Might have been something very similar. This character's name is, and I'll put it down here exactly how it's spelled, Gaakwi. That's as close as I can get it here. So he's asking Nisu Kawaji to translate everything that's been happening, obviously, with the battle. She does, and she explains everything like, okay, yeah, they are amenable to a truce. It's actually looking that way, that they're going to do a truce. And so if that's the situation, Gaakwi tells her, okay, great, then just tell them that, yeah, that's fine. We'll let them leave. And tell you what, we'll even give them some food as a parting gift, okay? Which is like kind of in the situation here because the disease is still happening happening, so it's like, all right, I'm sure he wants to test out the new sword and just murder all of them. But he's like, look, there's a disease, and if they leave, that kind of solves our problem anyway, so just like, yeah, just like if they leave, fine, and we'll even give them some food, okay? So Stork, the entire time, Thorfinn's talking to him. He's like, hey, Stork, what do you think? Truce, right? Truce, right? And then he just looks over at Gwakwi and just charges. He's like, I'm ending this right now. I'm killing the one that is clearly like the baddest, the strongest. I'm just going straight for their enemy leader. I'm gonna kill him and I'm gonna end this. Okay, that's the only way this is gonna happen. Hopefully that'll like lower their morale to the point where they'll back off, and then we can maybe, we can win this. Okay, so he is like, yeah, we're not evacuating. Not after everybody that's died. Ivar died. The other dude died. I think his name was like Gang Lately or something. He died. So it's like, and also all the other people in the fort are dead, right? So it's just like, okay, no, I simply cannot. We're not going to let bygones be bygones here. We're not going to do this like, hey, enough people have died, therefore we need to end it now. No, from his perspective and the Norse perspective in general, it's no, they killed so many of us. We need to keep fighting. This needs to happen, right? Now, hold on a minute. This is the point in the chapter where things get knocked into 12th gear. All right, this is the point where things get insane, right? Stork charges at Gwakwi. He has his back turned because he's talking to all of his men like, all right, the Nords are going to evacuate, make sure to give them some food, and then we can get out of here. So his back is turned for a moment. Stork pulls out a knife. He charges. Thorfinn tries to move, but he's still recovering, so he just like, he can't really move at all. Gwakwi turns around because Thorfinn is like shouting like, Stork, no, stop! He's like, huh, what's going on? Pulls out the knife, goes to bring it down at the exact moment, and this is the point in the chapter that shocked the hell out of me. We see somebody grabbing Stork's cloak and yanking him back. He would have killed Gwakwi. I have no doubt in my mind that knife would have went straight through his neck. He gets pulled back at the last minute, and I could have sworn, I was like, I know Thorfinn was like in pain, and so, but I thought like maybe as Thorfinn was going down, he grabbed Stork's cape and like, or his cloak and like yanked it down. I thought it was for sure going to be Thorfinn. It was Einar that grabbed him instead. Einar grabbed Stork, yanked his head back, and he's like, I'm going to kill you. He gets pulled back at the last minute, takes the knife, plunges it into Einar's neck, just severs his artery, just blood splurting everywhere, just like, let go of me, I'm ending this. And then at that same time, Hild fires her crossbow into Stork's leg, and then at the same time, Gwakwi takes out Ivar's sword and slices, just lops Stork's head clean off his body, just decapitates in just one move. Holy shit! Holy shit! Oh, that was like, Stork, man, dude, that reminds me. That reminds me of some D&D campaigns I've been in right now where everybody seems to be cool, everybody's chill, everybody's talking, but then there's the one fighter that's just like, fuck it, I attack! It's like, what are you doing? And then like 7 things happen at once. Oh my god. So, Einar gets stabbed, Stork gets killed, both sides are about to like, like unloose the arrows. Vargr is like, hey, everybody, no, don't do it. If you shoot, truce is going to end, and just think well about that decision. Don't make that decision lightly now, please. That was Stork. He was kind of, impulsive there. He just charged right out. We were having a truce, and he charged. Just calm down, because if they fight now, like, one side is going to get entirely annihilated, and even the side that wins is probably only going to have like 1 or 2 people left. So they really cannot afford, either side right now cannot really afford like a final, like just, it would just, that would be it. They might be like 1 or 2 survivors at the end of this. Think about what it was that Einar risked his life for. If you want to continue fighting, shoot him. Every man should decide for himself at this point. And the rest of the people on the fort are like, yeah, okay, I don't want to keep fighting. And Einar's dead now and Stork is dead now, who are basically our leaders. I mean, Vargr is also a pretty good leader. He used to be a member of the Jomsvikings, right? So yeah, he's a good leader. But anyway, yeah, Thorfinn is doing the whole like this is like a war movie now, where it's like, it's okay, man, it's okay, it's just a flesh wound, and just blood is just gargling out of Einar's neck. He's like, oh man, it's just a scratch, man, it's just a scratch. You're gonna be okay, buddy. You're gonna be okay. You'll survive. And Einar's just like, Thorfinn. Oh my god, and Nisu Kawaji is like, I will try to heal him, or bring them to me, and I'm just like, it's like Thor. Oh god, he just keeps saying, oh, he's gargling up. He's just like, what would Arnheid think if I see her? What would she think? And then Thorfinn is just, you just see a shot. Oh god, the perspective on this is so good. Makoto Yukimura is such a good fucking mangaka. POV of Thorfinn looking down. So from Einar's perspective, Einar looking up at Thorfinn like the last thing he sees before it's lights out and he's dead. He looks up at his best friend, sobbing, weeping, with the tears dripping on his face, right? And Thorfinn's just like, Einar! And then that's it. And then we just see both sides. We see the Lanu side. They're not raising their arrows. Their bows are down. And then we see the side of the Norse, and they're throwing a ladder over the side of the wall to come on down, I suppose. Neither the Nords nor the Lanu loose their arrows. And then the final page of the chapter is Thorfinn just like hovering over Einar's body, because Thorfinn has that giant like bearskin cloak on him, like the cloak, because he's, he was injured and everything like that. So he's just huddled like in the fetal position, like over his dead best friend, just crying. And then Einar's body is just sprawled out. We don't even see his head, just covered in blood on the snow and on the beach. And no words, no nothing. That's just the end of the chapter. I don't know how long we have left. I mean, like at this point, this is chapter 2. I would imagine it would be announced like when the last chapter will be. But like, I mean, 2 more chapters to just end it at 220. I mean, I think that would be appropriate. I think that would work out perfectly fine. I don't think there would be a issue with that. After a chapter like this, that is your climax right there. That is the end. The story of Thorfinn and Einar working together on that farm, toiling away as slaves for all those years, tilling the fields, working together, forming that brotherly bond, and then journeying together, and then going through the Baltic, and then going all the way to Miklagard, and then going all the way back, and then trying to finally start a new life, this dream that they both have had. And like, this is going to be it. This is the thing it's all been leading to. He's now dead on a beach on Prince Edward Island. Raise a glass, everybody. Raise a glass. No, seriously. I'll wait. Go out. I'm going to do this in real time. Go grab something. Grab a cup of something, a bottle of water. I don't care. Some beer. I don't even care what it is, as long as it's a drink. Just get something, because we're toasting to Einar, damn it. We're toasting to him. He was a good man till the very end, all right? He did murder a guy, but he really, really didn't want to, all right? So we're going to raise a glass to Einar right here. Einar's story, I'll give you a moment until you get it ready. But, like, dude, Einar's story was always so damn sad. His father died when the Norse raided his village in England, and then after all that was over, they tried to build it all back up again, and they did, and it's like great, and he's living with his mom and his sister, and then the Norse attack again. Was it the Norse that attacked the second time, or was it just bandits? I don't remember exactly, but then they attacked again, the village gets attacked again, gets torched, and then his mother and his sister both die, and then he gets sold into slavery, and now here's Einar's story. This is where it ends. But, okay, are we ready? Are we good? All right, here we go. To Einar, one of the absolute best friends of a main character in any manga or work of fiction I have ever read or watched. R.I.P. Einar. Okay. Oh, so, Yeah, where do we go from here? I mean, it doesn't seem like anybody's attacking for various reasons. I think it's probably going to have to be Hild. That's going to have to eventually go over to Thorfinn and just kind of like, hey, Thorfinn, I know, I get it. Trust me, I know. But we need to go. We need to go. We'll bring his body, but we need to go. Maybe they'll bury him here in Vinland. I would assume they would have to. I mean, I guess bringing him back on the boat, they would have to. They'd have to bury him here. Like they'd have to. Maybe they could ask the Lanu for permission on that. Can we at least bury our dead here, or leave our dead here, or like, hey, look, I mean, like, I don't know if they could bury every single person because they kind of have to leave, but it's like, can we bury Einar? And it's like the rest of the bodies. Can we at least can you at least take proper care of them? Like, are you gonna at least bury the dead? And I think the Lanu would agree to that. I don't think they would, like, it's like, yeah, we'll make sure. But then again, there's the disease. The disease can still spread through the bodies, so they're going to have to, yeah, they're going to have to figure out something. I don't know. But, like, yeah. Thorfinn's a dad now, so that's something. Also, kind of a happy moment mixed with an extraordinarily sad moment. But, like, hey, that's the cycle of life and death. Death, new life. That's the message there. And yeah, they're gonna get going, and we're gonna I think get like a, not an epilogue chapter, but probably like a chapter at the very end of the last chapter. I'm assuming we're gonna like cut to the future maybe a little bit. I think also a chapter would be necessary just to kind of cut around the world to see like Knut's and what he's up to. And what Thorkill's up to. Maybe Yukimura is going to do a thing that's going to be like, King Canute, this is what happens with him. And, like, the narrator will go over, like, this is what he attempts to do, and this is how he dies. And then this Thorkill, this is what happens with him, and then how he dies, and then, like, going over everything there. But yeah, there cannot be very many chapters left of this. I would be surprised if there's 5 more, probably not even that. But that's just my opinion anyway. I don't know. So, yeah, I mean, like, I don't normally talk about Vinland Saga, but we had a 2-month break, and this chapter was 28 pages long, and that was a big deal, and we're ending it soon. And it was an extraordinarily powerful chapter, so I just wanted to talk about it today. I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you want me to keep talking about Vinland Saga until the last chapter, I mean, that's definitely doable now. We don't have very many left, so, and it's a monthly story too. So if you want me to like make some reviews like this for the remaining chapters, I can absolutely do that, and I can be with you on the end of this journey, this Vinland Saga. But yeah, I'll end it here. Thanks for watching, and thanks for joining me this evening. And yeah. Check out Vinland Saga if you haven't. If there's somebody watching this that has I guarantee there's at least one person that has never watched Vinland Saga. He's like, oh, Tekking put out something. All right, I don't care about Vinland Saga. I've never watched it. I'll just watch this chapter. I'm like, all right, well, spoilers, Einar dies. But, like, I would recommend to go back and start reading it. Like, okay, Tekking, you sold me. It's like, great. I would suggest you do. All right, everybody. Have a good evening. Tekking, signing out.